In my statement, I had said Bob Kyalo is my lawyer. And indeed, Bob Kyalo was one of my witnesses who was going to give evidence.
It has been 2 days since city lawyer Bob Kyalo was gunned down on Magadi Road while driving home. His death, first reported online, has set off a wave of speculations, not just about who pulled the trigger, but why he was the main target.
If that criminal organization that I have named is associated with his death in whichever way, I'll pray to the living God.
One of the strongest voices weighing in is Captain Kungo Muigai, a longtime friend of the lawyer and his client in a high-stakes case pitting Benjo Amalgamated Limited against Kenya Commercial Bank. Speaking to the press, Muigai claimed Kyalo's death may have been tied to explosive evidence he was set to present in court.
Advocate Kyalo is a humble man. Very humble, very affable. Somebody who is soft-spoken. Never had him shout at any, and never seen him argue with anybody. And it's a despicable act to kill a man like that. I don't know who killed him or why. I cannot pretend to know that. But what I can state is, in my statement, I had said Bob Kyalo is my lawyer.
According to Muigai, Kyalo wasn't only his legal counsel, he was also lined up as a key witness. He allegedly held 4 affidavits from individuals who admitted to either giving or witnessing bribes to judges, plus 2 audio recordings capturing judges receiving bribes. According to Muigai, he said Kyalo was preparing to table these materials in court.
And indeed, Bob Kyalo was one of my witnesses who was going to give evidence about how various judges have been bribed with a lot of money. And he was also the custodian of very, very crucial evidence. He was holding 4 affidavits from our witnesses who either participated or were privy to the giving of bribes to the judges. He was also a custodian of 2 audio recordings which were actually recorded when these judges were being bribed. It's a sad day, indeed a very sad day for this country, that we can lose somebody of the caliber of Bob Kyalo.
Muigai stopped short of naming the gunman, but his accusations were blunt. He pointed to what he called a cartel, a coalition of powerful interests involving the Indian Shah community, KCB, and senior judges across the High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. He described them not as a cartel, but a criminal gang determined to block him from reclaiming 450 acres of contested land. And unfortunately, at the center of this clash of power, money, and justice was Bob Kyalo, and now he is dead.
I will not blame anybody because I really don't have an idea who killed him. But I have accused a cartel made up of the Shah community, Kenya Commercial Bank, and various judges in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and the High Court, that they conspired. I can call it a criminal gang. They conspired and they committed serious crimes. This was one of the men who was driving this case together with the evidence. Today, I reported to the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigations. Because I cannot access his office, they told me it's now a crime scene. I cannot access his home. So I reported to the DCI that these documents and this evidence was in the possession of the lawyer. So I have requested him. I have requested the DCI that whatever they recover in the process of the investigation to give me an opportunity, because the evidence, my evidence, the lawyer put it in an A4 envelope. We sealed it together and he wrote my name on top of it. So I described the parcel to the DCI and I asked them if they come across such a package to please contact me so I can go and identify it. First of all, I want to send my condolences together with my family. Advocate Bob Kyalo, we are related by marriage very closely. So he was my lawyer and he was also family. And I am saddened, and I said my family and my condolences to his family. We of course visit them. But I'll say this. This was a young man with young children. If that criminal organization that I have named is associated with his death in whichever way, I'll pray to the living God that he pays them blow by blow so that they don't find peace. Neither do their children or grandchildren find peace. Because I think it is the depth of evil to kill somebody because of monetary gain. I'm not saying I know who killed him. I'm just saying I had just exposed a criminal gang and I had said this is the lawyer who is leading this matter. So I feel it might be connected. But I'll leave the rest to the police. I've already reported to the police my connection with him. So I'll leave it to the police and we'll give them time to investigate and tell us the truth. I hope, well, my case will not stop. You see, my case, killing that lawyer does not help anybody. Because my case is one. There is no consent judgment. Right? It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't, even me, they can kill me. But unless they can produce that judgment, which they rely on, which they even quote today, in their reply today, the judiciary spokesman, Mr. Demo, is saying there is a judgment entered on the 4th of May, 1992, in the High Court case number 1219 of 1992. So if that judgment is not found, it doesn't matter who they kill, they are not going to get out of that trap. But all the said and done, my case, my allegations against the bank, Kenya Commercial Bank, the judiciary, the 11 judges, 5 judges from the Supreme Court and 6 judges from the Court of Appeal, and the Shah community still stands. I still stand by those allegations. I have seen a statement by the spokesman of the judiciary, somebody called Demo. And it is flabbergasting because he says they deny every allegation I have made. They deny every allegation I have made. And he goes to explain what happened. And once again, he talks about a consent judgment dated 4th of May, 1992, in the High Court Civil Case number 1219 of 1992. He says that is a consent judgment that made them sell my farm. And that is a consent judgment that settled this matter. And once again, I am asking the judiciary and I'm asking Kenyans to support me on this. Let them produce that judgment. I am challenging the judiciary. They have written clearly in their statement by their spokesman that we entered into a consent judgment, which settled all these issues. So I'm challenging them, as I have done over the last 30 years. Produce this judgment, produce this consent judgment. What is so difficult? This is a physical document. I have said the judge who was supposed to have recorded it, Justice Rasas Gidinji, he has written a ruling, an official ruling saying there is no judgment like that. The police have investigated and said there is no judgment like that. The registrar of the High Court has written and said there is no judgment like that. The Law Society of Kenya has written and said the lawyer who is purported to be my lawyer, Mr. Menye, did not have a practicing certificate on that day of that judgment. So it is obvious there is no judgment. But even today, in the statement that they have issued today, they are still talking about a consent judgment which does not exist. So I will not cease, I will not stop until they produce that judgment to silence me.